Bigfoot is more than a legend. Something that walks upright like man is stalking our forests. Something is leaving huge, unexplainable footprints all over the face of our earth. The legend of McCullough's Mountain, filmed in color where it happened. The legend of McCullough's Mountain. They swear to God it's true. Rated G.
Faster than a streak of lightning, more powerful than the pounding surf, mightier than a roaring hurricane. This amazing stranger from the planet Krypton, the Man of Steel, Superman. Possessing remarkable physical strength, Superman fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent.
And while on a hunting, my father discovered what are now known as the Henderson Caverns. More than 40 years ago, he mysteriously disappeared while exploring them further. Recently, I found these maps and charts he left, suggesting that still greater wonders and mysteries lay beyond in this vast underground world. Now, if your paper will help finance the expedition, I will take Miss Lane and Mr. Kent with me and guarantee the Daily Planet exclusive rights to the story.
Sounds like a great story, Chief.
I'd love to go.
Well, let me see. All right, it's a deal.
Thanks, Mr. White. We can leave immediately. Careful now. Those are explosives for the blasting we'll have to do. We're shoving off, Kent. Meet you in the Blue Grotto.
So long, Clark.
See you later, Lois.
According to the map, this next grotto is the furthest any man has ever been.
Is that to be our society?
That's right. The dynamite.
above his head. Why, the resemblance is remarkable. Is that...
Yes, my father. But what would they be doing with a statue of him?
And the sun! And the sun! And the sun! Lois! 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 And the sun! Lois!
Oh, no.
This is a job for Superman.
It's really a great story, Lois. But no one would ever believe it.
July 1960. While flying over a remote section of northern Canada, a Canadian aircraft patrol pilot suddenly encountered the huge shape of a strange, unknown giant. But what was it? And where did it come from? Now comes a motion picture that explores this incredible mystery. Don't miss Sasquatch, rated G.
Now showing at the Embassy, 46th Street. Starts tomorrow throughout Greater New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Watch for this ad in your local newspaper.
Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the Friday Night Scream Stream. I'm your host, Spakenstein, joined as always by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink.
Good evening, everybody.
How we doing tonight, Evan?
Oh, we are just swell. We're swell. We're drying off. It's been a monsoon here.
Yeah, we're trying to think of like a wet dog, just dripping water everywhere, and you're just that's kind of how we're feeling after the past week. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of clouds. It's been gloomy.
Yeah, we're gonna track water, mud, and movies all into your house. So.
Right. Well, I will say though, a gloomy atmosphere is perfect for watching some old horror movies and cheesy horror movies at that. And of course, that's what we bring you here on Scream Stream. So, welcome everyone, getting your weekly dose of cheesy classic public domain horror. So hope everybody's had a good week. We've been I think like we said, outside weather, just kind of it's been same old, just middle of the summer, kind of the what is the dog, what are the dog
when
days
are the
of
dog
summer?
days
What is
of
that?
summer?
Because I guess for me, as soon as as I'm done with one of my major summer activities, it's like I'm like, what?
I think we're in it.
What
it doesn't
now?
feel like it when it has it's just raining every day.
Yeah,
but I think we're right in it.
I mean, this is usually this is vacation time. This
Wasn't
is
it the
time
hottest day ever today?
Today?
As I was walking through the kitchen earlier, that's what it sounded
They
like.
said it was this past Sunday.
Okay.
Was the hottest day on Earth ever recorded. So
all right, let's
it is.
Give it up for us. We did it.
Did we? Yeah, mission accomplished. Do we need to get the banner
We're breaking
out?
the records.
Yeah.
Where's our trophy?
Yeah, they don't give trophies for notorious milestones in climate change destruction. They don't. I don't think that they give out awards for that. But we're if it's an interesting world that we live in. They don't give out awards for that, but they give out awards for terrible movies. And again, we don't necessarily like to subscribe to calling movies terrible here on this show, because we watch a lot of movies of varying quality. But tonight is part of our Summer of Schlock returns, our night film, the penultimate film. And which this is our dog days. I mean, we're wrapping it up. So, of course, be remiss if we didn't bring you a film of just, by all standards of filmmaking, you could call it terrible.
Okay.
Because tonight, what we have for you is the 1975, and we're going to be debating about that year later. 1975 made for TV horror movie, Curse of Bigfoot. And this is, again, Manos levels of incompetence.
Okay.
But there's some interesting kind of production history with how this movie became the form that we're going to see tonight, and we'll be getting into that. But it's your basic high school students running around the desert, and then they find
the desert.
Yeah.
So this is a Bigfoot movie in the desert.
Okay. So I haven't seen this, so maybe not the desert.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that. It's in California. This is I'm not quite sure. I don't think it's necessarily super northern California.
Okay.
But it's
maybe Bigfoot just came south for the winter.
Well, and as you'll see, it's how we get Bigfoot here is an interesting story in and of itself. So we'll get into all that tonight. It's going to be fun, but I'll go ahead and warn you. Like I said, you may call it terrible because it is just. But again, to our benefit, because we enjoy we enjoy a terrible movie, and every now and again, think about the Larry Buchanan movies where the day for night is really, really terrible. Which we had one of those with the eye creatures earlier this season. That's what we've got here tonight. Is that kind of style of film?
That style.
It is a bad film if you if you really want to go the Larry Buchanan.
Made in the style of a bad film.
Really just by all definitions of the word, I think this does fulfill that. But it does have some interesting, facets to it, which we'll get into tonight. It's a regional film. Again,
were we just saying last week, can you really call a regional, or can you call it a regional film if that region is just California?
Now, we did that very, very good observation there, Evan. We did last week have that discussion because the movie really did involve a lot of people that worked in and around Hollywood. And if they weren't really major players when they made that movie, a lot of them went on to go do big things in the Hollywood side of the industry. Tonight's film is very much from people who didn't have industry connections like that. And so
this is less.
It is very much like a regional, like a local kind of effort of just,
out in the this is in the provincial parts of California.
Yeah, right, exactly. Not in your, this is definitely not your LA or even near your Sacramento. This is probably more rural. Again, just the whole production history behind it, it's all kind of speaks to kind of amateur filmmaking, which that's the thing. That's where last week's film, you couldn't call it regional because I wouldn't necessarily say that it was amateur, right? It was going for just being a typical horror movie, right? It didn't have copious mistakes and issues, and it was technically presented like any other Hollywood made, industry made horror film from that time.
But this one is not that.
This is not that. It is in color. So there is that. We do.
We're 75. I guess.
Well, you'll see. Yeah. I'm gonna save it. Save it.
Question mark.
Yeah, we'll talk about the production a little bit, but of course we'll be talking about Bigfoot tonight because this is our, this is our time to do it. And
we get one Bigfoot movie a year.
We do. We don't get a lot of opportunity. Now, I'm trying to, because I think we'll kind of have some more opportunities to get Yeti movies, which we already had one. Remember back in this past winter when we watched Snow Beast. So I think there's
no beast like Snow Beast.
That's very good. It's where I need to have the applause queued up for you there, Evan. I haven't seen. There's another movie I haven't seen, but I'm pretty sure it's public domain that's about a Yeti that we will be able to watch next winter. But during the summers we get our Bigfoot fix in, and again, last year we got The Legend of Bigfoot, which was your kind of documentary style Bigfoot film.
There's that word again.
Yeah, you can't really you can't necessarily call that documentary because it's just kind of a bunch of nature footage edited together with some footage of somebody running around in a Bigfoot costume.
Hey, what else do you need for a Bigfoot movie?
I mean, it worked. It was entertaining as hell.
It was, actually.
It was good. So, yeah. So tonight we get more of a narrative story. So it should be good. And
Spark's in the house.
You welcome,
What's up,
Spark. I hope you're doing well this evening.
Hope you're having a good Friday.
Thank you for joining. I hope you're ready to get your Sasquatch on.
Yeah.
'Cause we're.
Should we say apologies for Wednesday?
Oh yeah, well, 100%.
We were having some issues on our end.
On my end with my internet, so it was me. So I apologize for that. It is. We've not had it happen. Like that bad.
The internet it's a fickle mistress.
It really is. And so it was. I know it was pretty much impossible to bear through that. So I appreciate you trying, Spark, and I know Glastra also was trying to tune in, but yeah, my internet was a mess. So not gonna say anything about it because we're going right now. Everything's full steam ahead. So but yeah, so thanks for being back tonight as we again get our Bigfoot on. This is, I hope everybody's wearing oversized shoes and is really.
We got some big shoes to fill.
We really do. And Evan's gonna be helping us fill those shoes with a little cocktail that he brings us to pair with the evening's film in a little segment which this season he called.
It's Schlocktail Hour.
And what is it time for tonight, Evan?
It's time for a not just a themed drink, but a weird themed drink. That's what we're doing here on Schlocktail Hour.
Okay.
And so for preparation for tonight's episode, I've been doing a lot of research on Bigfoot, and by which I mean I've been watching a lot of the History Channel.
Oh, well, of course. It's, when I was trying to find like trailers and stuff to put into tonight's episode, that's all I was coming up on was just having to sift through all these little History Channel documents. Like, how many are there? Jesus Christ.
It seems to be
There's a lot.
Their main export.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that, based on my research, that scientists have been trying to nail down this one question for what seems to be thousands of years. And that is, what is Bigfoot's favorite food?
Oh,
because if you think about it, every single one of those Bigfoot shows, they all go something like, well, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to just smear gravy on a log. Maybe we put a few marshmallows in there. Maybe that's what Bigfoot likes.
Maybe he'll be a fan of that.
We'll put the camera over here, and maybe this will be the thing. Because that's it, right? You need if you're trying to draw Bigfoot out of the woods and into your heart where he belongs, you need that secret key.
Yeah, that little bit of extra flavor.
Yeah. So where I'd like to take us is, picture this, Garrett. It's the year 2014.
Okay.
Star Wars is in movie theaters. There's a man named Joe Biden in the White House. And
that's right. Yeah.
Everywhere you look, in every kitchen, and in the mouth of every man, child, and woman is bacon. Do you remember when everybody was obsessed with bacon for like a few years?
I feel like I remember multiple times where that was like a thing where there's the new diet fad is bacon. And it's like, that has legit been like a thing that every 5 years I feel like it comes up as like.
So,
My parents got into it one time and it did not work out. It was because it was
On the
it just
bacon diet.
it was bacon and like grapefruit juice, and it
Oh.
was like something about the
Oh
combination.
gosh, not together.
It was, well, that was like what most of the diet. Yeah, you were like
That sounds like one of my Schlock tales. Why would you drink that?
it was not. It did not work out well for my dad. Let's just say that it ended up like, you know, being not a good diet.
Well,
so. Cautionary tale.
Guess what we're dealing with tonight? Back then they had the idea, what if we put bacon in everything? And tonight I had the exact same idea. Tonight's drink is called the Bigfoot Bait, because I think I've cracked the code. I think this is what's gonna do it. This is gonna draw Bigfoot out of the woods.
This is it.
It's a mixture of apple brandy and bacon jam with a pinch of cinnamon. And
okay,
I'm you know, every week that we've been doing this summer, I've been trying to like up the ante, or like just find some weird ingredient to run with.
Makes sense.
And I've for like all summer I've been thinking, how can I do a savory cocktail? I've done every other flavor. I want to do a savory one.
How can I crack this code?
And so I don't know if this is gonna be good or not, but I'm kind of dying to try it.
Well, the anticipation is certainly building.
Yeah, we are seconds away from seeing if this is a good idea or not.
Yeah, and this, you know, bacon jam. It's
Bacon
certainly
jam. Have you ever had bacon jam before?
No, I've never had bacon jam.
I've had it before. It's pretty good.
Never had it. Not familiar with it. This is my first time. Yeah, when you announced the recipe earlier this week, that was the first time I'd heard of bacon jam. So it's sounds interesting. Definitely like the idea of the apple brandy and the cinnamon. It's like a nice little. I know I'll enjoy that. Whoa, oh God. Oh. Oh, I don't know, man.
Just don't think about it.
I don't.
Just don't think about it.
I don't even know if I could shoot this. It just looks like
you can do it.
So thick. How much of the bacon jam is in this?
Not a whole lot. Like, not even a spoonful.
Oh.
It smells like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I kind of see that.
Okay, I say we just go for it.
I know I can't sip it, but
No,
I'm almost
this is a shot.
Tempted to sip it. Like because it just looks like so thick. I'm afraid that I'm gonna go to shoot it, and it's just I'm not gonna be able to swallow it.
You just gotta open up that throat.
All right.
Here we go. This is the Bigfoot bait.
Well, let's hope this does the trick, Evan. Let's hope this brings Bigfoot out in all of us tonight.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's weird.
It's not bad.
It tastes like Thanksgiving. I don't know. It's almost like it tastes like a couple of different casseroles when you get them like right there on your plate together, and they kind of get mashed up a little bit.
Which, you know, you may not always be a fan of that.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I would recommend this one.
It's not bad. It just.
I think the real question tonight is what's worse, that drink or this movie?
I think that'll be a good it'll be a good poll. We'll have to keep taking it at the breaks. We'll have to see. I'm certainly already fighting to keep this down.
It's
so
savory.
I'm sure that the movie will reach the same heights. We'll see. No, it's really not bad. It's just different. It's weird.
Very
like
different.
You said,
I guess there's a reason why you don't get a lot of savory cocktails or shots.
Yeah, I guess it's a little more. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there are some good ones out there. I'm sure you will perfect it one day.
Yeah, I think.
Don't give up on this dream. You know, I think that your experiments are moving in the right direction. I don't know if this. I wouldn't say this was a failed experiment. It was just the results were inconclusive.
Well, that's the scientific method. Sometimes you just try stuff out just to see what happens.
Let's see what happens. And hey, kudos to you for trying this Bigfoot bait out. It was definitely
and you did it, Garrett. You got it down.
Oh, I did, but
did you? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, and just kind of like getting the aftertaste of it too. It's not like not a bad aftertaste, but it's not a good aftertaste. It's like did I just eat something weird? Like, what is that? What did I eat? Like, no, it's just this cocktail. No, it's a bacon jam. Just, I don't know.
We're all in a bacon jam.
We got all bacon jammed up tonight. That was really not bad. I again, kudos to you. I think Bigfoot would love that.
I think he would. Yeah, maybe that's more to Bigfoot's taste.
I think so. I think that we're not Bigfoot. Like, we don't have the Bigfoot gene.
Yep, my feet are just too small to appreciate
to
that.
actually be able to savor that the right way. Bigfoot would definitely savor it. So we'll see if that brings Bigfoot out. I don't know. Are we brave enough to take another one later? We'll see.
We'll see. I might just be switching just to apple brandy.
Well, that's not bad either. Because last year's cocktail with Legend of Bigfoot, that was like,
I think it was also apple brandy, but it had liquid
brandy.
smoke in it or something.
Yeah, that's right. And that was very good. And it's funny, last year we watched Legend of Bigfoot. Now we're watching Curse of Bigfoot. And they all these Bigfoot movies, most of them have some kind of, especially the docudramas, it's like some kind of sensational name or some kind of just something like that evokes a horror movie, and then it just ends up being kind of.
Yeah, it was like, as far as cryptids and monsters go, Bigfoot is Bigfoot usually depicted as like violent?
In movies, yes. And that's what, again, we talked about when we watched Legend of Bigfoot last year. We talked about the Bigfoot craze that the United States went through in the 70s. Obviously there was the Patterson Gimlin film, which is the one that everybody knows, where he's walking and turns back and looks, right? I think that was late 60s. That was sometime in the 60s. And I think that the reported sightings went up, and then you had documentaries starting to come out, and then you had some kind of low budget horror movies that at first didn't necessarily tackle Bigfoot directly, but later on, it eventually turned into a full-on Bigfoot craze where Bigfoot is attacking people and doing all kinds of wild and unsavory things. But we'll be talking about that tonight. We'll be getting into the kind of evolution of the Bigfoot in the like film space, Bigfoot's place in film history, if you want to put it that way, because obviously it didn't really exist up until really the 70s. So but we'll be getting into that tonight, and of course again, talking about this movie, Curse of Bigfoot, and how it came to be. And I'll go ahead and tell you the whole reason that there's conflicting facts and information about this movie is because it's really a re-edited version. Curse of Bigfoot is a re-edited version of a previously existing film. So
A previously existing Bigfoot film?
no, not a Bigfoot film. So that's the funny thing about this movie is that it is actually, what we're watching was produced for television. But it was an extended version with new footage shot in 1975 by the original filmmakers, which did kind of have some Bigfoot stuff, Bigfoot conversation, added to a 1960-ish film entitled Teenagers Battle the Thing. And let's just say that, I don't want to give it away yet, but let's just say that the Thing is not Bigfoot. So, how they square this away, I haven't seen it, so I don't know quite how it all connects. But, I'm sure you'll be able to tell the difference between the 1975 footage and the 1960 footage. And I think that the 75 stuff kind of opens the film, and then the 60s stuff comes in later and is just kind of plays that whole movie for an hour. So should be interesting. Again, it's one of those patchwork films that it's just trying to kind of remarket an existing film, trying to kind of be able to make more money off of it by, shooting some new material and just saying it's a new movie.
Well, waste not, want not.
Exactly. And Bigfoot would want you to, yes, Bigfoot is very environmentally conscious.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
There you go. Yeah.
It's a philosophy. All right. Anything else before we get into it tonight?
Yeah, who would win in a fight between Bigfoot and Superman?
That's the short we should have had tonight. That's what they, instead
Bigfoot
of
v
Birdman,
Superman.
it should have been. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that if Bigfoot wanted to, if he stepped on Clark Kent's face and poked his eyes out with his toes, he might be able to disrupt the. Doesn't he have heat vision or something? Can he shoot
Yeah, he's got the laser eyes.
Right. So if he gets that out, then I think Bigfoot is at an advantage. I think he can win.
Okay.
So I don't know. Would be interesting. I'd pay good money to see that fight. So, who knows? We'll see. Maybe a Superman will be destroying the Bigfoot in tonight's movie. We'll see what we get. Could be anything. On that note, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting beginning of Curse of Bigfoot right now. Whoa.
It happened 2 million years ago.
2 million billion years ago.
In steaming swamps and prehistoric jungles. The earliest man-like creature.
3 toes.
walked the earth. Not human, more beast than man.
Big frog.
A monster of evolution.
Ooh.
It walked across the eons of time, slowly changing.
There's definitely our cardboard
becoming
cutouts.
more and more human. More and more
Payne?
advanced.
Yeah, he's like a cat
Until
or a dog,
in the
a house cat.
Pleistocene, just thousands of years ago, man himself emerged. But the change from beast into man was not a steady one, and sometimes primitive man would find his life threatened, terrified by the appearance of a monster from the past.
Monster! Ah! Ah! Here we go, yeah. Ah! Nice. Hell yeah. We got some blood. We got a terrible Bigfoot monster.
Is that how evolution works? Our ancestors were made of Brillo pads.
Right, exactly. Brillo pads and really perfect vampire fangs. So see, they're not in the desert, but they're like, I mean, they're in some kind of, I don't know, a mesa? I don't know what you would call
it. You're trapped in a labyrinth with Bigfoot.
That actually sounds fun. So, Dave Flocker, the producer, is also the director. Don Fields. Don Fields is a pseudonym. I don't know why. He decided to have a synonymous credit as director, but
Maybe he's just trying out the pseudonym thing.
yeah.
I don't know if I want to be credited this way or that way. Let me just see how it feels.
It's quiet. Too quiet. I'm sorry, is it supposed to be night? There's that pesky Bigfoot.
It's evolved excellent camouflage. Blends right in.
What? It doesn't even look
That doesn't look the same.
the same.
Is this Frankenstein?
Yep. Yep, they swap movies on us. A negative dog, you can't even see it. Yeah,
I don't know what that looks like.
I don't know what that is. It's not Bigfoot.
I can't believe it's not Bigfoot.
Actually, I can. Nothing's happening.
It's a slow burn.
They keep cutting back from like the same shots over and over
He's
and over.
taking his time getting up here. Is this what suspense is?
Yep, this is how it's done. Just like Hitchcock, baby. Scotty.
Scotty, stop it!
Yep, we've all been there with our dogs, right, dog owners?
Enough noise to wake up the dead.
Stop it. Uh-oh. Is that dog drinking milk?
Yeah, what?
I don't think I've ever heard of giving your dog milk. I don't feel like you should.
I don't know.
You want him to take nasty, wet shits everywhere, I guess. I feel like that dog would have destroyed that bowl of milk by now. In real time?
Be good for the rest of the night and don't awaken anyone else. I'll promise to take you hunting with me tomorrow.
Don't awaken anybody else.
And you can chase all the jackrabbits you want.
She's giving him warm milk to put him to sleep. Like a baby.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same monster. It's kind of insane.
Do something. We get it.
Andy, will you get the lights, please?
What? You can't be showing horror movies in class.
Mr. Whitmore. You started at the
Is this a film studies class?
You get the idea.
Welcome to Bigfoot 101. How to identify a Bigfoot. As we all know, Bigfoot has crinkly
Here we
green
have
skin.
the classic example of the Hollywood monster. The movie studios turned out films like these by the hundreds back in the 50s and early 60s. Werewolves, vampires, monsters created by atomic radiation, creatures from outer space. They all did their part to paralyze the kids at the Saturday matinee and to give the girl an excuse to move as close as possible to the boy at the drive-in theater. Now, these horror films of the 50s seem corny today, and just as unbelievable as the ancient sea monsters we've been studying. But don't get the idea that
Ancient sea monsters we've been studying? What class is this?
Films about the devil,
monster class.
Ancient sea monster.
Even the film about the great white shark was a monster story of sorts. A modern-day sea monster.
Jaws.
These films managed to give all of us a few genuine moments of fear. Yes, man has always had his monsters.
So that wasn't Bigfoot. Okay.
Very real.
It was just doing a thing.
And sometimes most unexplainable. Well, class, today we're concluding this study of the supernatural, of powers and beings outside the reality of nature. So I've invited a guest speaker who should be arriving in a few minutes. This man is a science teacher, as well as a widely read author and a recognized authority on the phenomenon of the abominable snowman, or as this creature is known in North America, Bigfoot. A present-day monster.
What an artistic rendering.
The search for these giant, man-like creatures started with the discovery of mysterious footprints. Huge footprints, which obviously were not made by any known form of human life.
It's turning into a docudrama.
These initial discoveries were made mostly in the snowbound regions of the world. Parts of Alaska, Canada, and most often by mountaineering expeditions in the Himalayas.
Are we still waiting on the guest speaker?
He's warming everybody up for it. This is the warm-up.
In 1951, the well-known mountaineer, Eric Stapleton, was returning from an Everest reconnaissance expedition. Eric was waiting out a storm at base camp number 3,
Everest
close
reconnaissance?
to the northern edge of
You gotta keep an eye
Menlong
on the
Glacier.
mountain.
Now, this man was a professional photographer, as well as an educated scientific investigator and mountaineer. The giant footprints in the snow, photographed by Stapleton, were published by newspapers around the world. For the first time, the public came to know of the existence of a giant, man-like monster which actually exists in the Himalayas. A monster known as Yeti, or Bigfoot. Within 2 years, the reports of giant footprints deep within the wilderness areas of the world spread from the Himalayas into North America itself. In May of 1956, a man by the name of James Hunt not only discovered footprints along the muddy banks of the Fraser River near Alberta, but Hunt actually sighted the Bigfoot monster running into the woods. Unfortunately, he had no camera with him.
Of course
America
not.
said he was crazy.
Trust me.
That the footprints were fake. But over the next few years, reports continued throughout Canada, Washington State, Oregon, and even into California. It soon became apparent that Bigfoot was not just a hoax. Something was there, leaving giant footprints deep in the wilderness. Bigfoot was real.
Bigfoot is real. Whoa. Bump, 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 bump. Getting a logging montage. You know, it's getting serious in a Bigfoot movie when the logging montage comes up. Just padding that runtime out.
Wherever these giant creatures came from, it was obvious that they were becoming as curious about us as we were about them. In many logging camps throughout the Northwest, workers reported sightings of huge, hairy creatures watching them from the woods.
Yeah, Bigfoot would hate to see this. It's destroying his home.
Man was invading Bigfoot's domain,
There you
moving
go.
into the virgin forests, cutting trees, taking over what had always been the hiding place for these mysterious monsters. As modern man cut into the wilderness, Bigfoot was forced to retreat deeper into the timberland. And as progress forced Bigfoot out of his homeland, more and more evidence was found which proved, beyond a doubt, that there were many of these creatures here in North America. More footprints were discovered, as well as strands of long black hair tangled in tree branches. Hair which, when examined by scientists, proved to have come from some mysterious creature previously unknown to man. For these discoveries, very few educated observers would still deny that something was really out there. There was an incredible man-like monster actually living in the North Woods.
But it's not Bigfoot. It's Man-Bear Pig.
That's the thing.
I think Bigfoot just wants his own bulldozer. I think that's what this is really all about.
Just a few years ago, in the wilderness of Oregon, two employees of a large lumber mill set out late one afternoon to visit a favorite fishing spot. As it turned out, these two men were destined to become the first unfortunate persons to encounter Bigfoot, face to face.
Foot to foot.
Foot to foot. It's the only way that you measure up to him.
Gotta go toe to toe.
Toe to toe. Oh yeah, look at that Toyota. How are they gonna draw this out? This car going slowly up this hill.
What does it? The music would make you think something exciting's happening.
Right, yeah. The music is definitely trying to sell it hard, but it's been trying the whole, like, first half of this movie.
Like, it almost feels ironic. Like it's just some absurdist joke. What's that?
Oh, look, Bigfoot. There he is. It's really him.
Was that a naked guy?
Yes, technically Bigfoot is naked. Yes.
No clothes.
Where he's going, he doesn't need clothes.
The woods.
You don't need clothes in the woods.
That's how you get ticks. That's why we haven't found Bigfoot. They all died from Lyme disease.
Yeah, that's wiped them all out. You're not Bigfoot. All right, Bigfoot, make your grand entrance.
Who's that rustling around back there?
Sounds like a sneaky snake.
He doesn't look very...
No.
He looks kind of disaffected.
I mean, well, he's right by the car, so if anything bad happens, he's safe. He'll be fine.
Larry, where are you?
I love how they're really focusing on the feet when
Yeah.
it comes to the Bigfoot. That makes sense. It's logical.
Right. We put the whole budget into the foot, so make sure that's where you point the camera.
We made sure to apply the most yak hair to the foot. Couldn't really put it. You had to spread it out on the rest of the body, but really loaded up that foot.
That was just a guy in a fur coat.
What are you gonna do, Bigfoot? Bro, why'd you run away from the car?
Bigfoot's gonna steal your car.
And you know, back in this time, they always left the keys in it.
Unlocked.
Well, why should I be worried? The car's not going anywhere.
Hunter's becoming the hunted. Look behind you.
Ooh.
There he is.
Oh. Good thing this guy doesn't have his gun like ready to go. He would have just blasted. Whoa. Uh-oh. What?
To believe all of this?
Yeah, you expect us to believe all this?
Thomas, Shakespeare once said, through Hamlet, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Class, one of the biggest errors a man might make is to disbelieve what he hasn't seen. To think that there are not evil powers or fantastic creatures just because you personally haven't experienced them could result sometime in a dreadful consequence.
Shakespeare said.
Now, save any questions you might have until Mr. Mason arrives. He once had an incredible first-hand experience with Bigfoot. And I want him to tell you the story himself. Well, while we're waiting, let's review, see if you remember the names of some of these ancient sea monsters. Anne, can you tell me about this fellow?
Let's see. That's one of the dragons from the 16th century, I think. He was a flesh eater and supposedly grew to a length of about 30 feet or more.
Good. Now, who can tell me about this fellow?
That's a griffin. It's a flying bird monster. Back legs of a wolf, front legs of a hawk, like claws, and it would swoop down to catch its victim, usually young kids, and it would just tear them apart. And it would just eat everything except their shoes.
Their shoes.
Wow, yeah, no nutrition value in the shoes.
When the griffin got you, all they'd ever find is your shoes.
Yeah, that's some 70s stoner humor.
All right, then. That may be true. But what I want you to tell us is just where and when did the legendary griffin get its start? Andy.
He was invented in the 1400s by the Germans.
Really? I wonder. I wonder, young man, if the ancient griffin was really invented, as you say, by some demented madman.
Roger. Thank you for coming today.
He came in hot.
Yeah, really. Fully loaded.
I wonder if I should have come. That is going to take us to our first break. Well, we're a third of the way through Curse of Bigfoot. What do we think so far, Evan?
And what even is this movie? This has been such a wild watch so far.
Essentially, they've just, as we'll see during the second half, we'll learn that this was just them killing time. Really. I mean, all this was like the 70s shot stuff, right? And
so we're not even to the body of the...
No, and so the body of the 1960 movies only, the whole movie itself is only an hour long. And so they added basically about 30 minutes of padding. And
there's been plenty of that.
That's pretty much what we just got, was most of the padding, right? I think there's a few more minutes of padding and then we go into the movie.
So the rest of the movie is going to be this guy's story.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head of it.
Great. I hope this is going somewhere.
Well, you know, again, if you've got a shorter film that you want to re-release and pretend like it's a new movie, just shoot some what is essentially unrelated footage and just find some way to tie it all back together.
I really love that guy's entrance.
That's great. He's constantly yells at this kid
about griffins being real.
Griffins being real. Really, young man?
I wonder.
Yeah, he comes in really hot.
Maybe it wasn't the ravings of a demented madman. I didn't say the demented madman. I said a German.
And then immediately he's like, after that interaction, he's like, I knew I shouldn't have come in here today.
This was a mistake.
This was a mistake. Because he immediately got into a fight before he even actually got introduced or had a car. He didn't even, nobody said anything to him. Yes. He just got pissed off as soon as he walked in. I mean, yeah.
How dare you insinuate that griffins aren't real?
It's too bad that, like, yeah, now, like, we get this character literally for, you know, just this short little burst, but it is a ridiculous character just coming in so hot. And it's actually played by the director Dave Flocker.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought his name was Don Fields.
Well, and it's so funny because they were I read an interview with one of the actresses who was in the Teenagers Battle the Thing version, and she couldn't remember if his name was Dave or Don. And she was like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure it was Don." And they're like, "No, like it was Dave." And she's like, "No, I'm pretty sure it was Don."
Why
And
am
so
I
it's-
remembering Don?
And it's like everything else says Dave. But then I read this, there was a newspaper article, and it was like talking about Don and Dave. And it's like
a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
it just was really confusing. So basically, this movie was in the version, the portion that we haven't seen yet was the product of these two brothers, the Flocker brothers, Dave and his brother James. Dave produced it and directed it, and James wrote it. And I think they were in their 20s, and they had done like documentary work and educational films. And I think they were trying to break into the, kind of the emerging market of the low budget horror film, which again, the late 1950s into the early 60s. I mean, that was the heyday of like, the real indie B horror movies, like in the Corman vein, right? Corman was the one who showed everybody in the late 50s, early 60s, oh yeah, there's a market out here for this. So you had all these like regional people around 1959, 1960 trying their hand at it, right? So these guys were like, hey, let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can do. And it was very much a kind of community type of thing. Like, all right, we're gonna get local students to act in this. We're gonna get just the help of locals. We're gonna film in town. It was very much like a kind of small town sensation, right?
No, I mean we kind of know how that goes.
Right.
If you're indie, you use what you've got.
Right. It is very much in the spirit of people leveraging the resources that they have in their hometown and the connections they have, and trying to put a movie together. And we haven't even really gotten to that portion. What we've gotten is the 70s stuff, which, there's a fair amount of like Bigfoot talk. There's also a lot of padding and a lot of, but I mean, I'll give them the fact that it really fits the mold of a Bigfoot docudrama so far.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the year that this came out, 75, was kind of like the peak of the Bigfoot craze, right? Right around like 1975, 76, where when you have the most like documentaries and docudramas based on Bigfoot coming out. But I mean, again, they talked a little bit about the history, and we talked about it a little tonight. It wasn't until the 50s and the 60s that you start having these sightings being reported. And Bigfoot was not a monster that appeared in films before the 50s. And even then in the 50s, you get some Yeti movies, but Bigfoot was not a concept that the public was aware of really until the 60s.
Hadn't been invented yet.
Kind of in a way, yeah. Like the Patterson Gimlin film hadn't come out. Like it was really like late 60s going into the early 70s that you started to have more sightings. And of course, like Bigfoot is regional, right? And like certain regions had their own type of like cryptid, like monster man, you know? And of course, the one that really started the Bigfoot like movie craze was the Falk monster in Arkansas, which was popularized by a movie entitled The Legend of Boggy Creek, which is the first trailer that we're going to see tonight. But The Legend of Boggy Creek was the movie that kind of kicked off a Bigfoot movie craze. There had been one other movie. There'd been one other like straight Bigfoot movie before that entitled Bigfoot, which actually has John Carradine in it. And it seems to be a pretty like commercial kind of horror movie version of the Bigfoot story. Like he's terrorizing people and the townsfolk are trying to like profit off of like Bigfoot, and it's just, you know, very like cheesy 70s movie, but that movie didn't really catch any kind of fire. It wasn't really popular, and that was 1970. And then there was actually a Bigfoot porn flick in 1971 entitled The Geek. And there was a trailer for it I almost showed, but like I didn't realize that it was a porn film until like the end of the trailer, and Bigfoot like starts like having sex with this woman, and I was just like, oh wait, oh, this looks like a porn film. Oh, this is a porn film. You know, filmed on location in Oregon or something like that. It was, but
starring the real Bigfoot.
Yeah, I mean, it was Bigfoot costume looked okay. It wasn't bad. But yeah, so you had some Bigfoot movies before The Legend of Boggy Creek, but The Legend of Boggy Creek kind of set the tone in terms of taking on a docudrama style. You know, it had a narrator and it had a lot of nature footage, but then it would have like dramatic recreations of like eyewitness accounts of having encountered this monster. And those were, you know, like, it wasn't an expensive movie to make. It was really cheap. And it ended up being a drive-in sensation. It made a ton of money, and it made the filmmaker kind of a name in drive-in horror movies for that time. Charles B. Pierce ended up making like a few, like he ended up getting budgets after that and made like a few kind of higher level horror films off of the success of Boggy Creek. But Boggy Creek, because it was so successful, you had a lot of imitations. And whereas, you know, again, the cool thing about Boggy Creek is that it focuses on a very like specific type of variation of Bigfoot, right? Like the Falk monster. And, you know, having it had some of the real people playing themselves, or at least it said that it did. So that's what all the docudramas after that tried to do. We used the real people, and and we had them tell their story, and so it became this thing where you started getting just straight documentaries about Bigfoot, but then you also got docudramas where they would dramatize people's encounters, and so that was what we got last year, right? And now this year we're getting just kind of a straight narrative version. And you know, you got more Yeti movies after Boggy Creek. There's one called Shriek of the Mutilated, which is pretty cheesy. And there was a movie I hadn't heard of until today called Sasquatch. And
Sasquatch?
Yeah, and it's like it's lost. Like, I believe it's from 75, but like in the trailer, I was gonna show the trailer. I did find a trailer for it, but it was like awful quality, like VHS of VHS, like like 5th generation.
Copy of a copy.
Yeah, it was really bad, and I decided to kind of go a different direction with the second break. But for the first break, I was like, well, we'll show the trailer for Boggy Creek, and then our second trailer is for a movie that's very similar to Boggy Creek, but it deals more just with straight like general Bigfoot as opposed to, you know, like going something specific like the Falk Monster. And that's Creature from Black Lake, and it is a entirely dramatized kind of version of the Bigfoot story. But it tries to, again, Boggy Creek was such a successful movie that a lot of these movies, even Legend of Bigfoot, which we saw, really cribbed a lot from Boggy Creek. I mean, that's exploitation for you. I mean, what we're talking about really is Bigfoot exploitation. Bigfoot exploitation. I don't know how you would say that, but
Footsploitation?
Footsploitation. That's really what we're trafficking in when we see these 70s Bigfoot movies. So, you know, it's kind of a little time capsule we get to enjoy. We get to see when everybody was all up in arms about Bigfoot. It's worried about Bigfoot. These Bigfoot coming into my backyard and mess around with my lawn furniture. I don't know what people are so worried about. What are they gonna do? They don't mean you no harm. Although in these movies, obviously, they do. They don't make them benevolent creatures, which I believe, as you pointed out to me earlier tonight, they're largely thought of as believed to be benevolent.
Yeah, not really. Usually, the story goes, it's so hard to even find them that they're not, you know.
They're not looking for a fight.
They're not looking for a fight.
They're not looking. Hey, I don't want any trouble, said the Bigfoot.
Yeah, you just, hey, okay.
Hey. Yeah, that's Bigfoot. Yeah, just really trying not to get in any trouble. Can't blame him. Well, we're going to see these two Bigfoot movie trailers, The Legend of Boggy Creek and Creature from Black Lake. And then when we come back, we'll get into the exciting middle of Curse of Bigfoot. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Here in this primitive river bottom wilderness in southern Arkansas, along with deer, duck, crane, and beaver, lurks a creature that walks upright. Whether it is a man, a monster, or a myth, no one really knows. What we do know is the people around Falk, Arkansas say they have seen such a creature nearly 250 times since 1954. And that this creature, whatever it is, emits one of the most terrifying sounds ever recorded. The Legend of Boggy Creek, rated G.
You really believe there's a creature?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do.
Black Lake is coming to a theater near you. A Jim McCullough production, rated PG.
And we are back. So those are trailers for Legend of Boggy Creek and Creature from Black Lake. And kind of similar looking movies, honestly. Very, you know, very like stylized in terms of being on a like kind of swampy location and really just trying to let
Swamp
that
flick.
eeriness. Yeah, you know, that vibe, the swamp vibe.
Yeah,
kinda
swamp is scary. That's,
can be. Yeah, that's the thing. These swamp horrors, this, you know, that's really another thing that Boggy Creek kind of, I mean, really did kind of that idea of, okay, well, here's a location and a monster that can be scary at any time, but like, especially during the day, right? It's not just a nighttime thing, but it is also scary at night. It can attack at any time. It can come up at any time. That's kind of
that's the scary thing about Bigfoot.
Right, is that it's if you're
It
out in the
strike
woods
at any time.
Yeah, it can get you. And again, Jaws, 1975, the idea of nature's creatures, the monsters that are within nature, certainly people were trying to capitalize on that. So there's like, it's funny because you know we're about to get into the teenagers battle the thing part of this movie, and we can't, you know, we'll maybe start to wonder, well, you know, why would you take this movie and change it into a Bigfoot movie? Well, those were the times. That was what was popular at the time, was Bigfoot. So
Just
like
chasing the trend.
let's just take this and turn it into let's say it's a Bigfoot movie. I mean, those first 30 minutes, like if you pay for a Bigfoot movie, those first 30 minutes, you're like, all right, I'm getting what I paid for. Like, is it good? No, but I'm getting what I paid
But,
for.
yeah, but Bigfoot's in it.
That was the Bigfoot schlock of the 70s. Like these documentaries, like, you know, even Boggy Creek, like Boggy Creek is kind of hailed as being a really, actually a decent film. I was pretty bored by it when I watched Boggy Creek. It didn't really, was waiting for the monster and waiting for stuff to happen. And it was very like, you know, like the shark in Jaws, it played with the idea of like what you don't see, not showing it, the idea of that it's lurking there, waiting for you. Like, and then it draws the whole thing out with a lot of nature footage, you know?
You know what's been the interesting thing about this movie so far is that it somehow manages to do like both. It shows the monster way too much, but it also it like lingers and lurks so much that it's like, okay, we'll show the monster again.
Right, yeah, you're like, all right, why are we just on this same shot of nothing happening again? Like, yeah, the fake horror movie that they started with after the credits, which nice little fake out there, got me, didn't know, well, is this the Bigfoot? And it's like, no. It must just be another, like, some other, like, spare, like, ends to some movie they didn't finish. They're like, well, let's just throw this in here to pad out the runtime.
We did a screen test on this guy's makeup.
Yeah, and it's
all
like,
right, now sit up like this, and okay, do it again.
It's like, oh, we need to get this movie up to an hour and a half for television. Let's just throw any screen test, anything we've ever shot, whatever's in the film cans. Let's just cut it in somehow. We'll make it work. They did. Well, we're about to get into the teenagers battle the thing part of this movie and get into the flashback and all that. We'll talk more about the people behind the movie and just kind of how it got out there and all that good stuff as we get into the second part. So anything else before we get into it, Evan?
When do we get to the curse?
That's a good question. I think that, you know, a Bigfoot curse is kind of like, you know, it's much like the Bigfoot himself. It's lurking, right? It's like never quite fully in effect, but it's always, there's little inklings of this, that you're cursed, right? Like you're, you know, things aren't good, turn into a disaster, but things just aren't going great. You know, that's how you know you're cursed.
Yeah.
I think we'll see what see how this curse rears its ugly head. On that note, we're gonna go ahead and get into the exciting middle of Curse of Bigfoot right now.
Introduce to you a man who has spent much of his life as a teacher and as a highly respected scholar. He's written several books on the subject of Bigfoot, and his actual story, experience, incredible experience, with the giant man-beast of America is an amazing story he so kindly agreed to tell us about today.
I believe I owe all of you an apology. Especially you, young man.
Wow, look at
Wow.
him. He's taking a step back.
Your teacher has been very kind in introducing me as a scholar. I'm thought by many people to be nothing more than a madman. Or a liar, if you will.
Or a quack, or a charlatan, or I could keep going. I have
15 years ago,
He didn't actually apologize.
in a high school much like this one, I was teaching science to a group of students not unlike yourselves. 5 of those students, 3 boys and 2 girls, were especially fascinated with the study of archaeology. So I arranged a field trip. As a result of that field trip, 3 of those students will spend the rest of their lives in a mental institution.
Oh my God.
Damn. They went
Got him.
insane because of Bigfoot?
These high school students just can't handle hardcore archaeology.
One girl cannot speak to this day. She can only stare straight ahead in shock.
Shock.
She's totally unable to communicate.
That's why I
with the
believe
world
in griffins.
outside her mind.
That's why I got so mad at you earlier.
No. Never doubt that monsters exist. They do. Right here in North America today, there are creatures that are known simply as Bigfoot. They were known to the Indian over 100 years ago, and they're still alive today. But let me start at the beginning of the story.
Of course. Let me begin at the beginning.
Picture, if you will, the year 2014.
In museums and universities throughout the world, archaeologists are learning more each day about prehistoric man. Archaeologists are highly skilled, specialized scientists.
Yeah,
They
this,
know
this
where
looks
to look,
highly skilled
what
and
to look
specialized
for.
what this guy's doing.
And occasionally, they make a discovery of tremendous importance. This is the story of such a discovery. It began a year ago, not in a museum, but on the campus of a high school in the Southwest. 5 high school students and their teacher met with Dr. Bill Wyman, curator of the Lincoln County Museum.
Curator.
An outstanding archaeologist. These 7 people were planning a trip to the small town of Ivanpah. Their purpose? To help the museum excavate and uncover the ruins of an ancient Indian campsite.
Ivanpah.
Not one of these 7 ever suspected that they would soon make a startling, terrifying discovery.
So Ivanpah was apparently the initial title of the film, not the original '60s, right? Which is such a strange name, Ivan. It's the name of the town, so it's not even like.
Yeah, that doesn't exactly scream monster.
No. Ivanpah.
Grab your sleeping bags and leave them here. Is this where we're going to sleep? Here you go, Joey. Yes.
Whose house is this?
This belongs to one of the Museum Association members. No one lives here right now, so he lets us use the place whenever we want.
Nice.
All right, just come on in for a few minutes.
Sharon, look at these.
So wait, did they get the same actor that's telling the story?
Well, I think it's the director, right?
Okay.
Just last year. You can put your sleeping bags down on the floor. We'll straighten up tonight when we get back. Shall we go?
Like, I think the guy with the glasses who just got out there on the passenger side is the guy that was telling the story.
Okay.
But if he's there, who's driving the movie?
Yeah.
Looks like Indian country, doesn't
This
it?
movie's going off the road.
Right.
I'll bet you find quite a few Indian petroglyphs up in this area.
Yes, this country was literally dotted with Indian campsites at one time.
Mr. Mason, what are petroglyphs?
Oh, well, petroglyphs are Indian rock writing.
Yeah, that's
Come on with me
him.
and I'll show you some.
So this is archaeology, huh?
Well, there we are.
Boy, look at those.
These technically aren't petroglyphs. Petroglyphs are Indian writings that have been scratched into the rock. These have been painted on the rock with berry juice stain. We call these pictographs.
Well, what did they say?
Can you read them?
We've been able to figure most of them out. They tell of the history of a great Indian tribe, one that lived around here thousands of years ago. There were 2 chiefs in the tribe, many, many braves. They hunted the deer and the rabbit with bows and arrows.
Do those exist,
And they
like, on the
believed that
outside?
the sun and the rain
that?
were powerful
I'm
gods who
not
were continually
sure.
Well,
fighting
you
each
usually
other.
see, like, you know,
Gee, how
cave
can
Yeah, the
paintings and stuff
cave,
in
right.
caves.
We have to study these symbols a
where they're
long
not,
time.
like, exposed
Basically, though, this is just a big primitive history
Yeah.
book.
Say, Bill, let me get a picture of that. Wonder if you'd just point at that.
The ancient Indians
And
wrote this
the rest
on with
of you be
permanent
looking at it.
marker, so it's not
I'll
coming
get it
off.
from over here.
That's a rabbit. See?
How
Here, there,
interesting.
there's a sheep.
I'll see what you mean. Bob, would you kneel down there and be looking at the rock? Now that's good. Just look at the rock and hold it.
Yep, and point, of course.
Got it. Now I guess we better get to work.
Right, but where's the excavation? Right back this way.
Time to excavate.
Drill, baby, drill.
What kind of drilling are we gonna be doing? We're gonna do a little bit of fracking, we're gonna do a little bit of oil drilling. What's the situation? No, we're just digging with spades.
Where's the
This is where we've
dynamite?
begun excavation. What sort of thing do you suppose we might find? Well, that's pretty hard to tell. The only thing we've located so far... Well, here, I'll show you. These are pieces of old Indian pottery. And these are prayer sticks.
Prayer sticks?
Mm-hmm. At least that's what we think they are.
Prayer sticks were used by some of the ancient tribes as religious symbols. They actually buried them with their dead.
No.
You mean we're going to dig in a graveyard?
Well, that's possible, though I doubt if we'll locate any bodies. These prayer sticks may be over 1,000 years old.
Say, do you think we'll find any bones?
With everything
Say.
being this old, it's very unlikely, but it's still possible. Of course, it's also possible we may not find a thing. It's sure we won't find anything if we don't get busy.
What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, what do we do? Let's start digging.
Okay.
Okay. Slightly organized.
Say, Bill, look at this piece of pottery that Bob found.
You just found it, Bob?
Yeah, over there in the digging. We do
That's a good pottery fragment. I want to take this back to the museum with us. Keep up
Plane.
the good work. By the way, what time is it? 20 after 12. Getting a little late. Lunchtime!
Oh, boy.
You boys ready for lunch?
Boy, you said it.
Good, I'll get it from the truck.
We'll give you a hand. All right.
You left the lunch in the truck? Those sandwiches are gonna be all spoiled. You know they're eating sandwiches.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they got a
Gotta get
cooler.
the cooler.
I guess that cooler will work. They're okay. But this cooler is probably more heavy duty than the
everybody
coolers they
hurry.
make now.
You know, I finally made it. Yeah.
Well, we have sandwiches here for everybody. John,
Called
this
it.
is yours. Roger, this is yours. And here's Sharon.
It was the only thing they knew how to make back in the 70s.
Bob.
Hey,
Well, I suppose you see now why most people don't like this part of museum work.
You mean the food or the digging? Digging. By the way, did
Everybody
you find
loves
anything of value
sandwiches.
today, Mr. Wyman?
Oh, yes. For instance, this rock. This was used to grind up seed to make flour for bread. Notice the worn edges on it? And this pottery, we'll take it back to the museum and study it more carefully. I think we can tell exactly how old it is.
More prayer sticks?
Mm-hmm, more prayer sticks.
Say, Mr. Mason, what's this rock?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything quite like this.
I found it over there where we were looking at those Indian pictographs.
Ask Mr. Wyman about that. Say, Bill, take a look at this rock that Norman found.
Where did you find this?
Over there where you showed us those Indian writings.
What's wrong with it?
This is cursed.
Nothing's wrong. This might be an eolith.
What's that?
A very, very old tool. One used by ancient peoples. This is by far the oldest thing we've found here.
Let me see it.
We? What do you mean we? I found it.
Right over there. It's right around here somewhere. Just lying on top of the ground. I picked it up for a souvenir. I collect rock.
You collected a good one this time.
Well, I don't see anything else. All of these are just plain old rocks.
Well, it seems funny that it'll be lying just on top of the ground, doesn't it? Yes. Unless it fell. Up there. Maybe it fell from up there and rolled down.
Yeah, it looks like there's a ledge up there.
Let's go up and see. All right. You'll have to find some other place to get up, though. We'd never make it from here.
I think I'll stay down. Me too.
Need a climbing rope from the truck.
I'll get it.
This stock music was also used in The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Okay.
Why is it like getting to the dun dun? I'm confused what they're even doing right now. I mean, why are they climbing up here?
There's a ledge up here. It must have fallen from up there. Oh, there's nothing up here. This was a waste of time.
Yeah. Going back down.
Oh, back to digging.
A lot of archaeology is just parkouring across the rock walls. Exploring around.
Yeah, this movie is just trying to make archaeology seem.
Yeah, like a fun, exciting profession.
A heck of a ways down. Boy, isn't that a long drop.
That's Sharon and Linda down there. Hello!
Above the spot where the rock fell?
Over there.
Let's look around down here.
I mean, at least they're having fun.
Doesn't look as if we're going to find any of those rocks around here.
I can't even see that small ledge from here. You?
No,
Let's see, we
We're
were
wolves.
standing down there by that thick brush.
Hey, what's this?
It's a stone tablet of some kind.
Really something.
Yeah, but what? You recognize those markings, Bill? No. No, those are strange to me. They look rather primitive, don't they? They look older than any other markings I've ever seen.
Were they made by Indians, do you think?
No, not these. These are the types of markings made by cavemen.
Cavemen?
Perhaps
Cavemen?
as ancient as Pithecanthropus erectus, the earliest known species of ape man.
Ape Man.
Ape Man.
Oh
Seems to
man,
be
I wouldn't know we were getting an
Feel
Ape
along
Man
the edges here
movie.
in mud.
Yeah, I brought my rock pit.
Try digging it away.
Would you call
over there.
Bigfoot an Ape Man?
Be careful not to
I
hit the
guess.
rock.
I mean, he. Not an ape
How are
man.
we going to get it back to the truck? We're going to carry it back. Think
So
we
I
can get
guess it
out?
works.
Here's the bottom edge.
All right. Careful. Let's try lifting it now.
Is this how archaeologists like extract like delicate
All right, everybody lift.
artifacts?
1, 3. Heave ho.
Rosin added.
Sure is hard.
Maybe if we use the rock hammer to pry up on it.
All right.
Yeah, if we
Let's
just
get the
jimmy this
crowbar.
rock underneath that rock and then
Okay, Bob,
slam it
pull.
down really hard.
I think it moved a little.
Not much.
Let's try it again.
Maybe if we lift up on it while the boys pull.
All right.
I'll count to 3 and everyone pull. Ready now? 1, 2, 3, 4!
Wow!
It was a manhole cover.
Yep.
What happened? Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
There's a hole down there.
Wait a minute. There's a hole down.
Let all the magic smoking.
That was cool. Oh, they all like tiptoeing cautiously.
Wish we had
up
a
to-
flashlight.
Can you see anything?
Why, it looks like it might be a cave.
What are you doing?
I'm going down inside. So am I.
I'm going
Great.
Can't all
spelunking.
go in.
I'll stay up here.
Will you stay up here too, Roger?
No one is concerned at all about the
Alright,
like
but you be careful.
fumes that were pouring out of that hole.
No, those vapors are good for you. That's the kind of stuff you want in your lungs.
Invigorating earth air.
This is 1960, Evan. The smoke is still good for you. Like in the days when kids are running behind insecticide trucks.
Right, yeah. It was just that's where they put all the old DDT.
Yeah, that's all it was.
In that hole.
Okay.
Government just put deposits of DDT on the random spots in the desert for high school archaeologists to find. Oh, yeah. You think they had to get their parents to sign a waiver for this? I mean, this is high school, lest we forget.
Yeah. Probably not. Probably not back then.
Wait for a minute now. Let your eyes get accustomed to the darkness.
Did not bring a light?
What kind of a cave is this?
Nope.
Natural formation?
Probably so. It looks as if these cracks in the wall have been sealed up. With what? Look, pottery.
Look.
Look. I love pottery.
These are perfectly preserved. What's inside?
How can you tell in all this darkness?
Ashes.
Not ashes of a person. Somebody cremated?
No. These are wood ashes. Charcoal. We'll take these jars with us. Be careful not to spill any of the ashes.
Look, this one has writing or something on it.
Those markings are similar to the ones on the tablet up above.
Oh. Oh my gosh, it's the petrified man.
Yeah, Petra Cliff.
Yeah. That's his name.
What is it? What did you find?
There's a body over there.
What is it called? The what's the name of the guy? There's a name for the petrified man. I should know it. This was in that story I read. Let's see, who was
It's a mummy. Covered with mud.
a mummy?
What a find.
Yeah.
How can we get it out?
This is a mummy movie now?
We're going to need some more.
Apparently so.
Boards to tie it and hold it flat.
As soon as it was a Bigfoot movie, it was a mummy movie. Before we even had the time to register. The Cardiff Giant. That's it. The Cardiff Giant. That is what the Cardiff Giant looks like. Or it looked like.
A muddy mummy.
Yep, a muddy mummy. Muddy Mummy sounds like either like a novelty horror song or like some kind of dirty sex move.
Well, I'm glad that's
The muddy mummy.
Muddy Mummy. Or your next cocktail. Chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate and some kind
We'll
of
leave it there tonight.
You mean we're going to
Paper.
put it
some
in there?
yeah, I was gonna say some kind of like sugary candy
Suppose it rains.
paper.
Be careful
I don't know,
when you get in.
fucking
I'll get this end down here. I'll get
cotton
here.
candy.
Bob, you get that corner on that side.
Yeah, definitely. You know, when you find a hidden underground tomb and you find a body in it, the first thing you want to do is take the body back to your home base. Take it in.
Get nice and comfortable. Just lower all your defenses.
This is definitely all part of the archaeologist protocol, right? Like, you certainly don't want to leave it where you found it.
What do you want? Let's just put it on this trunk.
Where do you want it? Like it's a recliner.
How on earth did they get it out of that cave if they had?
It's a great question.
They had to like rappel down the.
It didn't break it or anything. Yeah, what do they do? Like
If we try opening it here, we may
lift it
destroy
up
something.
carefully.
Yes, sometimes just exposing a body to the air will cause it to fall apart.
That's okay. If that happens, Bob will sew the pieces back together.
We'll take you to the museum the first thing tomorrow morning. There we can examine it more closely. You know, you people have done a wonderful thing today. This could prove to be the most significant archaeological discovery of our age. I can't get over how well preserved this is. Perfectly preserved. And I think I know why.
Because it was sealed in that cave?
No, not exactly. Do you remember the vapor that shot up out of the hole when we pried the stone tablet loose?
Do I? I'll say.
I thought we'd had it right then. I believe that some ancient tribe buried this mummy, not just thousands of years ago, but hundreds of thousands. They were very primitive. Their writings and pottery work show that.
They definitely, again, like they're moving furniture. They definitely banged
But
it
how?
around.
They combined certain amounts of various woods and resins that were present on the earth at that time.
And welcome, Glassher.
They
I
put
hope
them
you're
in
doing
those
well
earthen
this
vessels
evening.
we found and
Welcome,
burned them
welcome.
in a sealed cave. The smoke and the incense had the power of preserving whatever was in the cave.
So that's why the jars we found were filled with ashes.
And that vapor that escaped from the cave was a preservative smoke, hundreds of thousands of years old.
Well, that's my theory. I could very easily be wrong, though. Hey, it moved. What moved? The mummy moved.
Sure.
It did. It moved its hand.
Looks like your story got through to Norman.
I didn't mean it was that well preserved.
I'm not kidding. I'm sure it really did move. I was looking right at that hand, and it just moved, just a little bit.
You'll understand. Norman watches television a lot.
But I'm not kidding.
Don't tell your story now. Wait until
All
later
good,
on this
Glassher.
evening.
Happy to have you here now. This is
Well, I think right
it's
now,
just
at
getting
any
good.
rate, we should all eat dinner. Good idea.
I could use something.
Yeah, I really wouldn't say you've missed too much.
No, you haven't. But and actually, that does take us to our second break. And yeah, I mean, you haven't missed much, Glassher. But if anything, you came in right as we got a whole different movie, essentially.
Perfect timing, really.
Because yes, this started out as a Bigfoot movie for the first 35-ish minutes.
Yeah, that was.
And
That was
then
like 2 movies ago.
yeah, and then for like 20 minutes it was just a kind of this boring thing about these archaeology students just kind of going around through this little mountainous area, and then out of nowhere it became a mummy movie. So don't you love that?
That's where we're at now.
That's where we're at. We've suddenly got a mummy movie on our hands.
We've swapped monsters twice so far this movie.
Which I do, you know, again, it's so funny that we talked about coming out of the last break, the idea that they were just kind of hopping on a trend at the time when they cut the TV movie version of this.
Yeah.
But when the original version was shot in 1960, you know, mummy movies were still in vogue. They were still a thing, you know,
Okay,
they
so
were still...
From this project's inception, it was always chasing a trend.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I mean, it's, you know, up to like the early 60s, mummies were still a pretty reliable movie monster. And they had gotten, that's the kind of the interesting thing about this, and I guess the Teenagers Battle the Thing version especially, is that it's not like, Egyptian mummy. Again, most mainstream Hollywood mummy movies are Egyptian mummies, but that is the cool thing here is that we're not dealing with an Egyptian mummy. We're dealing with, I don't think they've said what tribe, but just with some Native American mummy. And that is like kind of what you started to see a little more of in the mid to late 50s. There are a few Mexican horror films which got recut and re-released in America with alternate titles. Some had Aztec mummy, some had Mayan mummy. But again, the idea was that we're moving away from just the Egyptian mummy and we're doing something different. I just thought as we were getting toward the end of that I should have included a trailer for Death Curse of Tartu, which I guess came out after the Teenagers Battle the Thing version of this, but Death Curse of Tartu is like a Florida Everglades based mummy, like, Native American mummy. Yeah, like a swamp mummy kind of a thing. And it's more like I guess a mummy is a zombie, right? I mean,
yeah,
I know, more or less. Bog. Yeah. It is a bog person, right? And so it's I don't know, at this time it's a pretty novel idea to want to like take a mummy and do it, in the like American West. It works, right? Like it's interesting to think of this underground chamber where this mummy was stored, and there's this life-giving vapor. I don't know. There's a lot going on with that. That's like cool, like it's very on point in terms of genre.
Yeah. I mean, for being, one part of the like 3 movies in a trench coat that is this film, the original 60s stuff it's fairly interesting.
It's as drawn out as the padding was.
That is true.
It's not worse though, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
To your point, like it's still
worse.
Keeping our attention. It's, again, you would be a little concerned that footage from 15 years earlier might be a little more creaky, a little more slow, but it's just about the same. So, it's holding strong. So we'll see how they can wrap it up. We're going into our break here, so we're gonna get some. Well, yeah. See, Glastra. That's the funny thing, right? If only they just embraced it and did an anthology movie here, that would have been,
instead of trying to
trying to retcon the movies
together.
Yeah, the whole thing. Oh yeah, it's definitely a Bigfoot. What's this mummy doing out here? All right, we'll go with it. I mean, what are we gonna do? We're already over halfway through it. Might as well see it through to the end. I mean, you gotta love a good mummy movie. But by you can understand why they didn't go mummy for the TV movie version, because 1975 mummy movies were out.
Right,
It was,
it's all Bigfoot by then.
yeah. I mean, you had the American studios weren't making mummy movies. The British horror movie studio Hammer had a few mummy movies that they did throughout the 60s. They did their last one in the early 70s. That's one of the first trailer we're going to see, and that's for a movie called, I think it's Blood of the Mummy's Tomb. Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. The titles for their mummy movies are all they all run together. Blood from the Mummy's Tomb, that's what it's called. And that was the last one that they did, and it's just kind of a generic Egyptian mummy story. And then the second one is for a mummy movie that came out the same year as tonight's TV movie version. And it comes from Spain, and it's entitled The Mummy's Revenge. And it is very much a traditional kind of gothic horror mummy movie starring the Lon Chaney Jr. of Spanish horror movies, Paul Naschy. I don't know how you say it, but he was primarily known for playing the Wolfman, like the Spanish Wolfman, aka El Hombre Lobo, for like, I think he did like 12 films where he played this werewolf character, the same one every time. But he also played a mummy, played Jekyll and Hyde, he played vampires, he did zombie stuff, like he played all kinds of monster roles. So of course he, was gonna add a mummy in there at some point. So
Yeah,
this
he sounds like El Hombre. That's
yes,
that's quite the resume.
Yeah, he would. So one of his movies was at one time considered public domain in the United States, and that's Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman. But I don't know. I think it might have been able to be kind of like reclaimed from the public domain. So I had it on the list to watch. I don't know if we'll get to watch it, but we'll maybe get treated to some of that very special Spanish horror. But we'll get a glimpse of it here with this Mummy trailer. So we're going to get these two Mummy trailers, and then when we come back, we'll get into the exciting conclusion of Curse of Big. It just doesn't even feel right to say Curse of Bigfoot at this point, does it? But gotta go with it. So enjoy the end of we're gonna enjoy these trailers, and then we'll get the end of Curse of Bigfoot. So stick around, we'll be right back.
She who is buried here shall henceforth have no name, shall cease to exist in the minds of man, as she has ceased to exist in life.
For thousands upon thousands of years she lay there, perfectly preserved, in all her beauty, in all her evil.
We do have her name, Kara.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Wear it always. Wear it now. Here.
Across the centuries to another time, to another place, she is back amongst the living, to claim all that is hers.
You're going to kill me. No, no, no!
To threaten those who woke her from her eternal sleep.
Resurrection.
A rebirth for Tara. Complete control. Over life, over death. Who are you?
It was her, as large as life, standing over there.
No. It happened. You have to help me. You know its power. I have no mind left, no will.
In the name of Terra, she is back. To destroy those who helped to raise her evil flesh and blood from the mummy's tomb.
I know something bitter is bothering you. You can tell me what it is, my dear. Helen, I know how to understand you.
My father is a paralytic, and I'm responsible. I told Father not to go. The weather was awful that night. But he insisted that he accompany me. When we returned afterwards, the horses weren't wild, and Father was dragged beneath them.
Helen, you're not to blame. Believe that. Everything was written.
Finally, I shall have my eternal liberty. Soon, my beloved Marna will be by my side once more.
A pharaoh of the 18th dynasty.
The Foundation never dreamed of such a valuable piece.
It's a discovery of world importance. And we're the ones responsible for it.
I'm sure that the papyrus scroll you found will give us the answer to this mystery.
We'll study it in London. It will be fascinating work.
And Dr. Douglas will collaborate with us.
And we are back. So that was the trailers for Blood from the Mummy's Tomb and The Mummy's Revenge, which is so funny. The Mummy's Revenge is like pretty good title for a mummy movie. I'm surprised it hadn't been taken by that point, because like Universal made like 4 sequels and each one had like a different, like there's, you know, The Mummy's Curse and The Mummy's Ghost.
Mummy Reloaded.
Right, and even like the Hammer movies, it's like the Curse from the Mummy's too. You know, they're trying to like the Mummy's Shroud. You know, it's random things. The first Universal Mummy sequel was The Mummy's Hand. You know, which is a weird. Maybe this one, maybe tonight's movie should have been called The Mummy's Foot.
Oh,
and then maybe they could
That's
have
the
tied it
connection.
in The Mummy's Foot.
Yeah.
Because then you could say that the mummy is Bigfoot, or Bigfoot is the mummy. Some kind of connection. It's definitely, as Glasser coined, some high strangeness.
Yeah,
that's
we're
for
into
sure.
an area of high strangeness.
Yes, these high schoolers have certainly entered a world of high strangeness, encountering a mummy, which, you know, yeah. We did too. Yeah, we weren't expecting mummy action. We don't get a lot of mummies.
We really don't.
Have we had a mummy movie on this show? Is this
Like
covertly the first
a
mummy
true
movie?
mummy. Would you call I don't know, because like we've had like the frozen caveman kind of thing, which it's not exactly a mummy. Maybe that's the closest we've come.
Yeah, it's close. And I mean, yeah, I always forget about like Horror Express. And even that, you know, that's supposed to be some kind of like missing link, right? In a way, maybe that bridges the gap between Bigfoot and a mummy, you know, this thing with supernatural powers. But it's part human, but part animal. It's in between. It is the missing link. The missing link would have like crazy power. It makes sense. I understand it now. All this terrible movie finally made it all click for me. I understand.
When do the aliens come in?
Well, you know, it's all part of the high strangeness, man.
Yeah, that's. I really hope that they resolve this by so Bigfoot comes back and we have a showdown between Bigfoot and the mummy.
That would again,
rule.
yes, that's the movie I want to see. Bigfoot meets the mummy. That would have been the Bigfoot versus the mummy. Anything.
He shows up, saves these kids, and then disappears right back into the woods.
Even one of the old like Mexican mummy horror movies from the 50s, it was what is the robot versus the Aztec mummy, right? Like it's, you know, there you go. Like that you're setting up for a showdown. That's what we should have gotten here, but it's maybe it's like a Jekyll Hyde thing, you know? Like the Bigfoot turns it, the mummy transforms into the Bigfoot, you know?
He drinks a potion and turns into evil, demented Bigfoot.
Right. We can make this make sense. We can wait all night. We can make this make sense. It doesn't take much.
Interdimensional Bigfoot.
Well, that's what they say about that is like one of the theories. Again,
I guess that
last podcast on the left is unfortunately
a higher dimensional being or something.
Entrenched in, and that's one of the theories about Bigfoot that they discuss is that he's, you know, got this interdimensional power, and that's the whole idea of like any woods dwelling, the idea of the woods as just some kind of portal, like, you know, the Blair Witch. The whole idea of the Blair Witch is that there's like really some kind of like interdimensional time warp type of stuff that goes on that like you wouldn't even know just from watching the movie Blair Witch, but like the people that came up with the lore, that was part of it. And it's like, well, hey, I appreciate that the lore is so deep. There's stuff that you're not even telling me that like I don't need to know about. It works without it, but it's nice that like can explain, give some logic.
Yeah.
Interdimensional Bigfoot, sure. We'll interdimensional Bigfoot mummy, sure. We'll buy that all night. Anything else before we get into the exciting conclusion of Curse of Bigfoot, Evan?
Yeah, so I've actually got some trivia. So did you know that in the original ending for the Blair Witch Project, they go down into the basement and the guy's standing there in the corner, but then they turn the camera and there's Bigfoot.
Bigfoot was the witch the whole time.
The whole time.
Should have known. I feel like an idiot now. Why did I never... I should have been able to put that together.
Well, no, he turns the camera and it turns out that Bigfoot was the one filming the whole time.
Oh, okay. Was Bigfoot in film school with them?
Yeah, he's the silent fourth member of their crew.
Well, sometimes it didn't make sense how they had all those cameras going. You're like, there's got to be somebody else. Bigfoot. There we go. Well, we'll see. Maybe Bigfoot will teach these kids how to properly take a picture of him. Sorry, Bigfoot mummy, interdimensional Bigfoot. So we'll see.
There's some great irony about Bigfoot going to film school. I just love that.
It's absolutely insane. On that note, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting conclusion of Curse of Bigfoot right now.
Yeah, Glass, you're always tall. He can hold those.
Right. That does make more sense.
With his long arms.
This day certainly did go by fast. I only wished I would have gone with you guys when you climbed up those rocks.
That was quite an experience.
And where were we? Waiting down below. Well, when I looked up and saw that ledge and that sheer cliff, well, I always feel a lot better on solid ground. So next week, all the newspapers will bring big stories about how we found a mummy. Maybe even magazines.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah. I'll be asking me what I did, what happened. What did I do when I first saw that mummy lying there in that cave like it has been for thousands of years? And what am I going to tell them? That I didn't do anything because I wasn't even in the cave. I was too afraid to climb up on the rock. Well, you weren't alone. I can see the pictures on the front of the school paper of you guys prying up that stone thing, and all my friends asking me, where were you?
Tell them you took the picture.
Thanks.
Well, I should go for a bottle of pop. The country store is open until 9 o'clock if you want to walk up there.
Bottle of pop.
How far is it?
If you cut through the orange grove, it isn't far, about a 10-minute walk. There's a well-worn path, so you can't get lost. Want to walk up?
Sure, sounds like fun.
Anybody else want to go along?
Orange grove.
So you plan on bringing in the rest of those jars for a closer look?
That's right.
And then I think
Of course, Glastra. This is a Bigfoot origin story. This is how one of the teens
Yes, don't
becomes.
you have to stay inside. The country up here is pleasant at night.
I'm too tired to go anywhere.
It's sure that if I go out there, something important will happen here. And if I stay here, they'll probably find flying saucers.
By the way, you can bring me back a bottle of orange pop.
There it is.
Where's the dime?
You called it, bro.
Come on, dig it out.
What did he owe him,
Never
a quarter?
Unless you want me to have to drink it there.
Some people are nuts for
Are you coming? Coming? No, I'm going to conserve my energy and stay here.
I'm trying to tell if this is day for night or
or just night.
Yeah. I mean, it's dark. You
Pretty
gotta
dark.
give him that.
Yeah.
She has to conserve her energy for the metamorphosis.
Want to be the first person to shake hands with the mummy. It's gone.
I can't even tell what he's touching.
Yeah, was that the face?
It's the foot.
Oh, it's the foot.
Obviously. It's probably the face. What? I can't tell what is going on there.
I don't know what it is, but it's on the move.
The blanket's moving. I guess he woke it up. Yeah.
What's wrong, Norman? The mummy. It's what?
Look, Norman, this is just about...
Yeah, Glastra. I thought I saw a spot of a Starbucks cup in like the bottom left corner.
It's so dark.
Yep, right on par with modern movies. Yeah, it's so dark.
It's ahead of its time.
Dark and
Ran
desaturated.
into the grove. What was it?
The mummy on the loose.
Ooh, it is.
How could it be? Come on, Bill, we've got to do something.
Yeah, but what? Oh. Walking away from us.
That monster wants a bottle of pop.
Yeah. He's got to get a quarter, though. Yeah, Glassshard. I noticed that too. It did have a Jaws-y. The score did have a Jaws-y feel there for sure.
Sure is a nice sky. The moon's so bright, you don't even need a flashlight.
I love the country at night, don't you? Look at the stars. There must be billions of them.
And it's just stock
Living in town
music,
all the
so I don't know where
I
they
guess you
pulled
never
that
realize how
from.
many there really are.
It
Wouldn't it
did.
be great to live out here? in
Maybe
sunny
that was
places?
newer. Maybe that was from the 75
Shall we cut
version.
through the grove again?
I guess
Could be.
so. We found our way
They
the
did
first time.
reference Jaws without using the name earlier in the 75 footage. The movie about the giant shark.
You know.
You wink. I would imagine that this stock music was probably put on for the 75 version. It probably wasn't on the earlier version. The earlier version standalone does exist out there. It's in black and white, strangely enough. Because I guess if this was shot in color.
If we stay on the path, we'll be okay.
Yeah, if we can see it well enough.
You get down to the next house and warn them. I'll get Johnny and Sharon and meet
Yeah,
you
it's
there.
lighter now than it was before.
The moon sure is bright.
They just filmed the whole movie chronologically, so they filmed that earlier stuff in the morning, and then now it's like the sun's up. So it's supposed to be later at night, but it's actually later in the day. Can't even fucking see anything. It's a thick orange grove.
Sure, I figured you'd be on the way home.
Is something wrong?
Yeah, let's get out of the grove. Come on.
Yeah, I can't see shit in this orange grove. Here's some big ass oranges. Oh,
red.
Red. Shit's about to get intense.
Oh, yes. No, the children are all asleep.
Who the fuck is
What
this?
time do you expect to be home?
Oh, this is just new footage. I guess probably. I don't know. This is strange. I think actually the black and white version, I looked at a little bit of today. It almost looked like it had better definition.
Early in the morning.
So I
We're
don't
all
know.
fine.
You might be able to see
Okay,
more.
bye.
Yeah, this does have a Jaws sound. This is definitely 70s. Like, dun-dun.
Yeah, it's.
But yeah, exactly. Exactly. Ah! Except there was just a leaf that went by his face. So. So I think the woman being attacked, the footage might have actually been from the '60s version, but then they put that Bigfoot shot in later.
Hello, Bill. Walt, it's good to see you, especially now.
I just came from the Mitchell Ranch.
Walt, this is Roger Mason, a teacher at the high school.
How do you do? How are you, Mason?
And this is
So
Johnny.
the sheriff
one of the
is
students.
actually played by the father of
We were up digging at the Indian site yesterday.
of the
And that's where we
director
discovered the cave
and the
money.
writer.
Bill, of all the weird stories I've heard, this is the strangest. If it weren't for you boys, I wouldn't believe it. How do you account for it?
I can't. I have only a theory that the smoke and the vapor in that cave must have caused the body to lie dormant or asleep for possibly hundreds of thousands of years. When we opened up the cave and let the air in...
I told you I just came from the Mitchell Ranch where the girl was killed last night. I covered the body as soon as I got there. But some of the neighbors had seen it first. Stories going around that there's a bear come down
They're
from
gonna
the
turn
mountain.
this into a
One of the windows was
70s stoner
The door of the
comedy.
shed where we put the money
We gotta
was
smoke
smashed
the
too.
monster
Let's have a look
out.
at it.
Let's. I got your smoke right here, man. Cheech and Chong come out.
Cheech and Chong versus Bigfoot.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been great.
Or the Mummy.
Yeah, Glasher, they did. I think in one of the interviews I read today with one of the cast members, they were saying that the face of the monster was paper mache. Yeah, it's a wonder what you can do with paper mache.
This mud. Just like the lab man found by the body. Funny red stuff.
The mummy was sealed with mud just like that. It broke out of its wrappings.
What's it look like now?
We don't know.
We just caught a glimpse of it as it ran into that grove.
It stood erect, but was larger than a man. That's as much as we could tell.
Last night after it killed a girl, one of the neighbors said that he shot at something running into the grove.
The orange and lemon groves in this part of the country are so extensive, the thing could travel for miles and never leave the protection of the trees.
Let's go look at the place that you saw it run into the grove.
Yep, there you go, Glasher. It's that artistic eye. Spot that a mile away. I love this. They're just sticking close together, keeping a close formation. They're not splitting up.
What are these kids gonna do?
Not much, I think, is the answer to that question.
My archaeology knowledge will save the day.
My archaeology.
Archaeology?
Yeah, they've got that. They've got that bacon jam in there.
Yeah,
in
it's
their
all
cooler.
smeared all over their cheeks.
It looks as if it's been along here.
Yeah, Glasher, that's what you missed was the cocktail. And yeah, that was some Bigfoot bait for sure.
Bacon jam and apple brandy.
And cinnamon. I think the
And
cinnamon, that pinch of cinnamon helped the medicine go down.
It sure did.
Over here.
Yeah, that was the one.
Look at the broken branches.
Luckily, I didn't taste any onion. We were good on that front. We didn't talk about it. We just kept it out of mind. It was okay.
I think we found the spot
But it
where
was-
the creature stayed last
It was a
night.
thicker cocktail. But not. It was really not thick. It was just. It was savory, and that was just.
It was a odd flavor.
It was odd. It was weird.
Because this
was
isn't
weird.
ordinary blood. This is too dark in color.
He told me he had hit it. But he must have missed it. Why? Because I saw the gun that he used. A large caliber. 3 shots from that would have stopped anything.
Anything?
Well, it's sure that if a hunting rifle didn't stop it, that revolver of yours wouldn't do much good either. And it's too
Shakespeare
dangerous
said.
trying to track it down through these groves.
Do you have an idea?
Well, maybe we can
No,
lure
no,
it into
Evan.
the
He's
open
the guy.
field.
He should be like yelling at. You don't believe in griffins? Fuck you. I could remember what he said to that kid. Right. Yeah, there we go. It's all just an illusion to Hamlet.
That should just about do it, shouldn't it? Yes.
What's the
Now
plan
let's
here, Fred?
Set those cans of gasoline around where we can get at them fast. All right. I'll show them where. Good.
It's really taking it pretty easy. It's funny how much like dramatic music was over like, you know, boring stuff. And now like this should be like they should be pumping this up.
They're
There's
building
no
up to the
music.
climax.
It's
and
like
it's just silent.
Come on, like you were just playing dramatic music with logging footage earlier, like documentary logging footage.
Well, we've got to play the exciting music over the boring part. Otherwise, people will be bored. This is exciting on its own. It doesn't need music.
Dun, 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 dun. Like, give me something, you know? I don't know why they choose now to just...
How are we
There we
going
go,
to know
there
when
we
it's
go.
coming so we can pour out the gas?
Was that a
We'll
shark?
situate someone up the road to see through the trees and give the signal when it comes.
We can use the radio telephone in my car, and I have a portable unit in the back. Good.
Bro, you got a cell phone in there? Yeah, it's not fitting in your pocket.
Let's hook it up down here.
You push this button down to top and let it up to receive. That way you'll be able to communicate with the telephone in my car.
Good. See, Walt, you take your car and station yourself on the road down here.
Just a minute. Who's going into the grove with the bait?
I thought I would. Why you? I was going to do that part.
I wanted to do it.
That's a mighty dangerous idea.
I
too,
wanted to be the
Roger.
bait.
You don't know where that thing may be hiding.
All right. Let's draw straws between the two of us to see who
All
goes
right, you can do it.
Okay.
The one
I'm sorry, but drawing straws,
straw
I just...
has the job.
I saw like a movie trailer clip
Why,
for like a
big
newer
straw.
movie where they
I'm
were
in on
doing
this
that.
too.
It's almost like a joke. It's like, why are we doing it at all?
Well, looks like I win anyway.
I'll be down by the road.
And I'll be on this radio.
He's gonna come in and fuck it all up so he can be the bait.
Roger?
Bigfoot mummy zombie. Yeah, that is exactly what we have.
You're more apt to need this than
Here, you take it.
You're the sheriff now.
So that I believe that gun may have been involved in a theft, which was reported in the newspaper around the time of this production. Which,
Really?
I'll be back in a few minutes.
guess what else was stolen from the Flocker family home?
A mummy.
The costume,
Huh.
which apparently is a. Let me make sure I have the quote from the newspaper. It's a rubber skin diver suit with dark hair glued on it and smeared. It was smeared in stage blood, and it was stolen out of the home. And so the father called the cops, and The thieves were like just sitting in a car nearby with the stuff, and like they're like, "Yeah, we took it." And
Wow.
it seemed really random. Like, what was the point? But there's a whole newspaper article about it.
Sheriff's
Very
ready.
casual burglary.
He's got a good view.
But the
to
gun
grove
was
where he's
like
parked.
apparently
Yes,
loaned
we've already
from the real
communicated with
sheriff, and it got stolen.
Well,
The gun. It said everything was recovered, but the gun.
Oops.
now all we do is wait here until it comes out of the grill.
I love a time lapse to like the exact same like,
Blower.
angle, setup,
Everyone's-
time of day.
no one's
Nothing
moved.
changed.
It's been like
Time has passed. Has it?
It's been like 2 minutes. Also, this is their like Bigfoot blind.
This is Bill
Yeah.
Walt.
Hey,
See
Bills.
anything yet?
Nothing yet. Beginning to look as if this idea isn't going to work.
This idea was stupid. Whose idea was
Wait
this?
another 20 or 30 minutes anyway.
I never should have given that kid my gun. Oh man, I'm gonna get fired for this for sure. The media's gonna have a field day with this.
Well, I can't back out on it now. I gotta stay the course. Just sit here for another 20 to 30 minutes.
Roger.
Yes, Walt.
60-second now, I think. Birch is one of the trees that just moved.
You're breaking up.
Hold on.
You better be careful.
You'll hear from me within a minute.
Dun 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 dun.
And Orange Grove is kind of like the ocean, right?
Sure, yeah.
This grove is closed.
No picking. Ah!
It almost looks like a wolf man. It's like Wolfman if he picked up a crack cocaine habit.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Those are definitely crack eyes. He got the crack eye. Why is he walking? Whoa! Ah!
Been almost 3 minutes.
Walt. Come in, Walt.
He's been down there for too long.
Something's wrong.
Come on. Bring all those players, Johnny. Better grab that gasoline, too.
Time to grab the gasoline, just in case. Just in case what? You know.
Take it easy now.
It's our only weapon. A bucket of gasoline.
Walt!
Uh.
Wait here.
For God's sake.
Well, it worked.
Damn.
It worked really well.
Yeah, too well. They're like, oh, he's alive. We're not going back to the classroom.
Wait a second,
I thought
what?
we were gonna go back. That was it. I don't want it to be it.
That's they're leaving
Is that really it?
They're leaving the framing
I
device
want something.
unresolved.
Give me something. That was it. Yeah. Well, that was Curse of Bigfoot.
The Curse of Bigfoot?
Question mark. What did we think, Evan?
Oh man, this was a pretty wild watch.
Yeah, well, this was just ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a bunch of movies stapled together.
Well, again, the runtime was an hour and a half, so it's like they only have the attention span to not even do a normal movie that we would get on the show, like an hour long. They have to throw in like 2 or 3 other different like things, and that's how you get the hodgepodge that we ended up with tonight. So
Maybe they didn't go back to the classroom because what do you think those students' reaction would have been to this guest speaker saying, and then we threw a bunch of gasoline on this monster and just lit it on fire?
But that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what the reception would be to his story. You're waiting for some kind of payoff with it, and it's like, and that's how we did it. Wow! Like,
didn't he say that like some of the students went insane? And
Yeah.
like one of them can't talk anymore.
I think that was the problem, is that they couldn't deliver on that. So they're like, we just gotta end it as soon as it's done. As soon as the monster's done, we just gotta end it.
We have no footage of any of that happening, so just take our word for it.
We'll sell it big, and even if we can't deliver on it, they've already seen the movie. There's nothing they, after a certain point.
I imagine being one of those students in that class. I would be like, I would start to have my doubts about the like professor who brought in this guest speaker.
Wait a minute. What is this? Why? I want to see your credentials. Where did you get your degree at? What's your? It is kind of insane. The whole frame, like it would have been a better framing device to put an end on it versus dragging out everything the way they did.
Yeah, it's not like they didn't have time.
No, yeah,
in
they
the
just
runtime.
Right, they just kind of like really padded that first like 30 minutes, and then decided that they didn't need to do any kind of wrap up to their frame story. Who needs a conclusion to the frame? It's not about the frame. It was just your intro into everything. After a certain point, you don't need it. I wanted it. I'm just kind of upset that, but who knows? I mean, maybe they shot it. They just decided it wasn't good. I don't know.
Could be.
Just some of the last other facts. Well, apparently one of the students in the classroom during the 70s portion also comes from one of the movies that has at one time been called terrible that we've seen on this show. That would be Jackie Neiman Jones, who played Debbie in Manos, The Hands of Fate. Apparently she's one of the students during. I don't know if that's true, but that was something that I read on a couple different. There's a lot of like conjecture about this movie and the details. Again, the actress who played the blonde high school girl in the group, she was the one who like she remembered shooting it in like 58. But then another guy remembered shooting it in 63. But apparently they had to have shot it in 60 because that's when that newspaper article came out.
So
about
nobody can remember when they made the thing.
Well, again, that actress was the same. Yeah, they couldn't remember when they made it. The actress, the same one who couldn't remember if the director's name was Don or Dan.
This sounds like an area of high strangeness.
Yeah, the whole
time is folding on itself.
Yeah, the whole kind of like, and a lot of the information I got for this was off of the monster, like the classic horror film board. Like it's a message board that's been around for decades now. That's a lot of these, monster fans that know a lot about these movies or just have questions about these movies. And so you can glean a lot of like little interesting facts and pieces of information off of reading those message boards. And, so a lot of what I read they had two different message boards, one for Curse of Bigfoot, one for the teenagers versus the Thing, or God, what is it called? Teenagers Battle the Thing. But so there was a lot of just back and forth about was this date when they shot it? Was it released in this date? Like what was the? And it's crazy to see people get that involved about it. It's funny because they, for all this conjecture about the details behind it, they don't really go too much into the other people involved. The director, Dave Flocker, didn't really do much else.
What about Don Field?
Well, it's a Don Field. We don't have a prolific career in directing nothing. So the writer of the film, Don's brother, James, apparently also played the monster. He had a career in film throughout the 70s. Like the company that distributed the TV movie version of this distributed some of his 70s films. James Flocker, and he was involved in a lot of low budget genre films, titles like The Grizzly and the Treasure, Legend of Cougar Canyon, Secret of Navajo Cave, and all the message boards, all the things that you don't see. Of course, people in these, independent productions, if you dig deep enough, eventually you find some unsavory characters. Well, James Flocker, when I was researching this, trying to find out more about him, one of the first, one of the articles that eventually came up was from the FBI.
Ooh.
Yeah, about the conviction of one James Thomas Flocker for trading child pornography.
Ew.
This was in 2010.
Ugh.
And I didn't, it just said a filmmaker from Sacramento area, because that was the department of the FBI, or where the people from the FBI, that was the Sacramento department. But then it was it was the Chico Enterprise Record that confirmed that it's the same JT Flocker that did all these cheesy 70s films.
Well, damn.
So
that really
scumbag
tarnishes my opinion of this film.
It brings it down a little bit. I was really hyped for this film. I was going to talk about the Flockers more, and then I found that, and I was just like, well, I guess I'm just talking about Bigfoot. We're not gonna really harp on them too much, because James Flocker, the only person that went on to have a actual film career from this movie, was a scumbag. Maybe he's still alive, but he was convicted for that. And, you know, I mean, there's no allegedly to it. So it is one of those things that in the world of low budget filmmaking, you know, you do run into unsavory characters. It is just kind of part of the world, and it's shitty because these movies, you know, again, like, I mean, Ed Wood, like, if you really dig into, if we knew more about Ed Wood, it would he probably would not be as widely, you know, accepted and revered as he is. I mean, you know, obviously he kind of had a rough life, and that's the thing. A lot of these characters, you know, they could go on to get that's the thing. Like, Flocker had a cult following because a lot of his films were just like this. Like, his formula didn't really change much, and like people going into the wilderness, finding a thing, and they have an adventure,
and then they set it on fire.
Yeah, I mean, explosions. But, you know, his formula didn't change, so he got kind of a cult following. But obviously it came out later that he was a scumbag. So, you know, but that's just kind of, unfortunately, the other side that, you know, because we talk about regional horror films, and we talk about these things kind of like with the independent spirit in mind and the happy-go-lucky. Oh, yeah, but, you know, every once in a while you just come across these things and you're like, oh, yeah, all that stuff. And they're like, but yeah, eventually you're going to find some. So, and that's the thing. Like, it's not like this was a skeleton in his closet before he made the movie. It was something way after that. It's like, even look back at it and be like, you know, just kind of sullies the experience a little bit. You know, like he wasn't the main guy involved in this. A lot of other people put in work here, so you gotta take it for just the fact that it's a public domain horror movie. But I would be not doing my job if I didn't, you know, bring it up. So here it is. But that's you know, the Curse of Bigfoot bringing us a lot tonight, more than we expected.
Yeah, so much more.
So much more.
Good
yeah.
grief.
Being multiple movies, essentially. I guess that'll do that. So that's a way to do a Bigfoot movie for our second summer of Schlock, and our penultimate film in our summer of Schlock returns, because we're wrapping it up next week. And not only is it the finale of the summer of Schlock, not only is it Bela Lugosi, our only Bela Lugosi movie of the season, it is going to be our 100th episode. Can you believe it? It's here. We got to this point. I'm shocked.
Big 100.
Did you even think there were 100 public domain horror movies? And we're only halfway through. You know, like, it's kind of nuts. It's and the movie that we're going to be watching isn't necessarily like a milestone movie.
What are we watching?
We are keeping it simple with some just, you know, last summer of Schlock, we ended with a schlocky Lugosi horror comedy, which was Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn Gorilla. So we're going to end this season with a schlocky Bela Lugosi horror comedy. And this is, I guess, maybe actually the first horror comedy that Lugosi did. And it's one of his monogram films, one of the 9 monogram films that he did. Okay. And it's entitled, make sure I got it right. Because there's 2, he did 2 that are very similar for monogram of these horror comedies, that I get the titles confused. Spooks Run Wild from 1941. This one also features the East Side Kids, aka the Gas House Kids, aka the Bowery Boys.
We've seen the trailer for this.
We've seen it many times, because this one also has Angela Rosito, the little person from Scared to Death, and I think he was paired with Lugosi a couple other times, but then also prolific filmography. It was in a lot of other movies. This is like really technically an early horror comedy, and Lugosi is running around this haunted house being very sinister to the East Side kids.
Is he the butler?
I don't think so this time.
Okay,
I think again, with the Monogram films, they tend to use him a little more properly. They don't relegate him to the role, but he's the lead guy. They know he's the lead guy. Universal, yeah, they'll push him as the butler and then bill him at the top. And then it's like he's not leading this movie. Why did you tease me like that, Universal? So no, this is now again, it's more of an East Side Kids movie than a Lugosi movie, I would say. So again, much in the same way that Bela Lugosi Meets a Brooklyn Gorilla was more of a Mitchell and Petrillo movie than it was a Lugosi movie. This is more focused on the comedy team than it is Lugosi, but still enjoyable, still Lugosi getting to exercise his comedy chops. So we'll have fun with it, and we'll find some other ways to celebrate that big 100 that milestone that we're going to be reaching next Friday. So
which Jubilee is that?
Yeah, what is that? The diamond or I'm not sure. We'll get that. We'll celebrate accordingly next Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. Maybe try to go on YouTube to just, I don't know. I would think that Spooks Run Wild would be okay. Most of the early Lugosi or the Monogram Lugosi movies I haven't had problems with, so we will see. But we'll definitely be on Twitch, so you can find us over there and over on the socials at Scream Stream Show. Of course, if you want to catch up on any of our past episodes, you can find those over on YouTube at Scream Stream Live. If you want to follow me on the socials, you can find me over on Twitter at Spakenstein. Mr. Emma is on Twitter and Instagram at Caligari Cursed. Really appreciate everybody watching tonight. Spark, Glastra, thanks for tuning in.
It's been a fun night.
It has been an enjoyable one, as always, as we get through the dog days of summer into the conclusion of our summer Schlock. Anything else before we sign off tonight, Evan?
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Shakespeare said griffins are real.
Until next time, sweet screams, everybody.
And to all a good fright.